Hey, everybody, welcome to the True Crime Squad. I'm Christy Brower here with my sister, co host, and partner in crime, Katie Weaver. Hey, Katie,
Hello.
how's it going?
Well, I want to apologize for the time change thing. We're having some trouble with our scheduling software, and in trying to make it doesn't want to schedule Facebook today for some reason. So, in trying to make it do that, it changed our start time. That's just not true. We are here and live now. So, sorry about that. Weird.
Yeah, the internets are struggling today,
Oh
and
yeah.
we don't know why. Yeah, we can't go live on Facebook. We haven't been able to go live on Facebook all day
No.
for reasons we do not understand. So,
Yeah. So
yeah, and then so StreamYard is struggling. That's who we broadcast through. But anyway, hey everybody, welcome to our very first live recording of a regular episode. So, y'all have been with us live for lots of stuff recently because of the Chad Daybell trial. But normally, what we've been doing in the past is that we pre-record our episodes and then post them up. But
yeah.
so many of you enjoy being present with us live that we went, well, why don't we just record our regular episodes live and then we'll just post them up to our podcast. So
Yeah.
that's why we're here right now at 3:04 p.m. Mountain,
Yeah.
which is a time I don't think we've ever been live ever. So
I know this new schedule is going to be
welcome,
something
welcome.
to get used to. I know, Kathy. I What a dumb mistake. I know. Ugh. Hopefully we'll have
I
that
don't
bug
know.
worked out later this week, but yeah.
Technology, friends, technology. Well,
Maybe our
a
tech is
regular
sick of us too.
it might be. I mean, we have used and abused it in major ways in the last 8 weeks.
This platform
Uh,
said, "Say Chad Daybell again and see what happens. You just try
yeah,
it."
yeah, right. Yes, Chad has cursed us all. Um,
The
I
unapologetic
mean,
pot stirrers, right? Yes.
it does kind of seem like that would be a compliment, I think. But
We'll take
whatever.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we will. So, generally, what we do is we actually do a three-part show where we
Hmm.
do two short segments. In the middle of those, we do a longer segment where we present new cases, update older cases that we've been covering for a while, and so we're gonna. It feels weird because we haven't done this in 2 months. We're gonna
Hmm.
we're gonna do that right now. So, Katie, I know you have a DNA for the win for us.
I do. We have watched the last few years with wonder and awe at old cold cases being solved. I have often wondered how many men who raped and tortured and killed women in the 60s, 70s, and 80s are still out there getting old and thinking they got away with it, or maybe
Yeah.
seeing some of these crimes solved and getting a little scared that maybe they didn't get away with it. But I came across a case today that I thought was just really worth sharing, and it had an Idaho connection, which is wild. Not what I was looking for, but it is what I found.
Yeah.
So I'm going to introduce you to this man here. This is Gary Srery.
Hmm.
And it was just recently discovered that Gary is a serial killer.
Oh
Uh,
no.
he was already known to be a serial rapist and aggressor of women, but there was so much more to what Gary was up to. So I want to introduce you to these four women. This is Eva Dvorak, Patricia McQueen, Melissa Rohorek, and Barbara McLean. And
Mm.
these four women and girls were all murdered in Calgary in the mid 70s, around 76, 77, actually, about the same time we
Okay.
were born. And those cases have been cold, well, always.
Wow.
I want to tell you a little bit about their
Our entire
stories.
lives.
Yes. So let's talk about Eva and Patsy first. So Eva and Patsy were good friends. They went to the Ian Basil hmm, Basilgetti Junior
Hmm.
High School in Calgary. And they left class together. This was on February 12th, 1976. And they went to visit some friends and they never turned back up.
Oh, wow.
So they had some witnesses that said, yeah, we think we saw them walking around midnight down the road in southeast Calgary, but they were just never seen again after that until, well, the next day. They never made it home. Their parents didn't know where they were. Police
Mm-hmm.
had been called. And then the next day, their bodies were found under the Happy Valley underpass west of Calgary.
Mm.
They were lying together, they were fully clothed. Uh, it was a mystery, except for that they had both been sexually assaulted, and autopsies determined that they were both asphyxiated.
Oh, boy.
They
And under an
interviewed
overpass called Happy Valley?
mhm, they interviewed a
Yikes.
ton of people and had absolutely no leads whatsoever. Uh, yeah, and they were both, let's see, I think they were both 14 at the time. Yeah. Yep, they were both 14.
Oh, just babies.
Yeah. Yep. Now this was in February. Now fast forward to fall in the same year. And we're going to talk about Melissa Rahorick. She was 20 and she was living at the YMCA working as a housekeeper. She was actually from Windsor. And she had told friends that she was going to hitchhike into the mountains to spend a weekend in the mountains. And man, how many cases have we heard out of Canada where women were uh, potentially hitchhiking and were murdered in that same time era?
Yes.
So many.
Yeah.
At any rate, she actually did manage to get a ride with a Calgary transit driver, and he told investigators that he dropped her off somewhere around the bonus area on September 15th. Well, the next day, on September 16th, her body was found in a ditch about 22 kilometers west of Calgary. Yet again, she was sexually assaulted. She died of asphyxia, but she had some defensive wounds and some long black hairs in her hand that weren't hers.
Ooh, okay.
So that was evidence that they had held on to.
For sure.
They finally did pull DNA from her body in 1990 when there was some, beginning kind of DNA type tech available, but they still
Sure.
didn't have, so they had some DNA available, but they didn't have a national database to compare it to or anything like that.
Wow.
Now, fast forward to February 26th, 1977, to Barbara McLean. So, Barbara was from Nova Scotia. She had just moved to Calgary. She had a job at a bank and, again, was just trying to make her mark in the world. Her dad was a doctor and had been kind of like a small town politician as well. And when she was murdered, he had said to reporters and to police, "This crime will be solved. It'll take 2 or 3 years, but it'll be solved." Now, unfortunately, Dad
Mm.
died about 20 years ago, but
Yikes.
he wasn't wrong. Her murder was finally solved.
Mm-hmm.
She also was sexually assaulted and asphyxiated, but she also had defensive wounds and had some hairs on her body that didn't belong to her, as well as some blood that didn't belong to her.
Mm.
In 1977, the police in Calgary did 600 hair samples with men to provide comparison with nothing.
Wow. That's a
And
lot, but I mean, I think Calgary's also a big place, so it's really
yeah,
not that many.
but they just, on all four of these murders, they had nothing to go on. And all these years, they've had very little to go on. They had DNA again, but they've never had a match. So in 2003, they started doing more DNA analysis from all of the girls and started figuring out that they were definitely killed by the same person. And
Mm.
they designated them as individual A, but they still didn't know who that person was. So for 20 years, that DNA profile did not have a hit. In 2021, the Calgary police partnered with the Investigative Genetic Genealogy Company, the IGG,
Mm.
to work on it together. They also pulled in Parabon Nanolabs, who have solved a ton of these cases now.
Yeah, we definitely know that name.
They were managed to get a single profile together that went to GED match and family tree DNA, and they started doing the backwards genealogy to try to figure out who this person was. And as it turned out, they thought they had a match, and they were able to confirm that with the Idaho State Police.
Whoa.
Because Gary
Whoa.
Srery died in prison in Idaho for aggravated rape.
Holy hell.
But they had his
Wow.
DNA on file, so they were able to match that up and confirm, in fact, that that was Gary Srery.
Wow.
So he
It
apparently
sucks he
had.
was already dead.
Mm, why does
Damn
it
it.
always happen that way? He
Uh,
apparently had entered Canada illegally in the early 70s and was deported to the US in somewhere around 1978. So they don't know if he possibly has killed other women in Canada. They're still trying to put all of that together, but we at least know this.
wow.
But he was in prison in California for 6 years for sexual assault in the 60s.
Oh, man.
And then he ends
Just
up in,
technology hadn't quite caught up with that kind of forensics at that point,
yep,
huh?
then he ends up in Canada. He crossed illegal into Canada in 1974 after he posted bail on another rape charge in California.
Oh my god. This guy was trash.
Yep. And of course, he
Yikes.
lived in Canada for a few years, murdered 4 girls there, then was deported. That's what's wild is they gathered him up and deported him because he was there illegally, but had no idea he was a serial killer that was active in Calgary.
Wow.
Yeah. And then ended up sometime in the mid 2000s in prison in Idaho where he died.
Wow.
Yeah.
How weird that he ended up here, of all places.
Right? Of all places. But justice has finally been served for Eva, Patricia, Melissa, and Barbara, and for their families.
Wow.
Yeah.
That reverse technology, like my 2 cents said, the reverse technology genealogy DNA is so amazing. And it
Oh,
is,
man.
holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
It is so amazing. And people like him will never get away with the string of crimes that he got away with
Yeah.
because they'll catch him way before that because of this kind of stuff. Thank God.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yep. And it's a good point, Terry. How many other missing or murdered women are out there? Probably more. Probably more. Yep.
Maybe eventually they'll be able to match up some others, at least close the
Yeah,
cases.
for sure. Right, Jess. His victims in the US were all sex crimes, not murders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird. Go from sex crimes to sex crimes with murder and then back to sex crimes. That's kind of an unusual
Mm-hmm.
trajectory for a predator.
Yeah.
Wow.
JR wanted to know how old was he when he died. It appears that he was in his 50s or 60s, somewhere right in there. I don't have an
Oh,
exact
wow.
year. I was looking for that too and couldn't find an exact date. But
Yeah, so he
yeah.
died pretty young, really.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, fuck that guy.
Right. Right. Anyway, who knows? Keep that name in the back of your head, maybe, or don't, but I will for you. But because I
Yeah,
wouldn't be surprised at all if he doesn't match up to more cold cases, especially because he was
I bet
all
he
over the
does.
place. He was born in
Yeah.
Louisiana. All of this stuff that happened in Canada and California and Idaho. Where else was he?
Well, geez, that's a pretty big range. All the places in between
Yeah.
that he must have been to get to those places. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Prison justice probably did get him. I would imagine
Hmm.
so. So, yep. So,
That people that are that prolific, I just think we're in an age now where predators that prolific won't make it as long as he did out in the world
hmm,
killing and raping because of genealogy
yeah.
technology and other things. It's just
Hmm.
they won't go undetected so long, thank God.
Yeah. Hopefully, right? I think you're right, though. But yeah.
Hope so.
So, with that, I'm going to kick the mic back over to you for our main case.
And I'm calling this some crime news.
Okay.
All right. Well, friends, many of you have mentioned in cases that we should be covering, that we should be covering Kouri Richins. And what you may not know is we have been covering Kouri Richins all along, ever since
Hmm.
she was arrested. Obviously, the last 2 months we haven't been because we've been busy. But a lot has happened with Kouri Richins.
Hmm.
So, Kouri Richins is accused of poisoning her husband, Eric, in 2002. She's been in jail for just barely over a year now. And there have been some real shenanigans with Kouri Richins. And I'm not
Oh,
going to go back to the very
Jesus.
beginning because we've covered stuff. But guys, a shit ton has been going on with her um, recently. First of all, she sent some audio uh, stuff to Dateline so they could cover her. Kouri Richins seems to think she's pretty special, and we'll get to
Oh,
some more
boy.
reasons for that. But I'm going to
Hmm.
play you just a little clip of some of the things that she has said to Dateline.
I'm anxious. I'm anxious to prove my innocence. I'm anxious to get to trial, and I'm ready to get this one heck of a fight. You took an innocent mom away from her babies. I've been silent for a year, worked away from my kids, my family, my life, living with the media, telling the world who they think I am, what they think I've done, or how they think I've lived. And it's time to start speaking up.
Oh,
So, if you
Corey.
don't recall, Kouri is a Utah realtor and
Hmm.
writer who, after her husband died suddenly in 2022, wrote this book called Are You With Me? That was supposedly a journey through grief for her and her three boys after they
Hmm.
lost their dad. And Kouri got a whole lot of attention for that book. She hit the news, kind of the news outlets. She hit some of the morning shows. Like, she was getting a lot of attention for
Hmm.
this book, while at the same time getting a lot of attention for, maybe having actually killed said husband.
Hmm.
So, what's
His
been going
family
on
knew
with
it
her?
from day one.
They did. His family knew it from day one. There have been a lot of challenges between her and his Eric's two sisters, including an incident in which Kouri assaulted uh, Eric's sister Amy, and Kouri was actually found guilty of misdemeanor assault back on the 13th of May.
Yeah.
So she's now actually been convicted of something. She's facing a whole lot more crimes right now, considering her situation. But you guys, if you recall, several months ago, she's been in jail this entire time, no bond,
Hmm.
and she got in big trouble for a letter that she got busted that she had written that was supposed to be going to her mother. And in
Hmm.
the letter, she outlines ways that they are supposed to lie to her attorney and how she is lying to her attorney,
Hmm.
and then asking her mother, or more, I would say more like directing her mother,
Yeah,
to
directing.
tell her brother how to lie to the police about what actually happened.
Hmm.
And when that letter came out, we talked all about it and covered it, but
Hmm.
so
Well,
you
and
can find it if you want to
also
go back.
was trying to tell her mother to tell the attorney Sky to smuggle some Crest white strips into her because she was just drinking so much coffee and her teeth were getting yellow in jail, don't you know? Yeah.
She's a vain little shit, that is for sure.
Hmm.
Um, when she got busted for that letter, She tried to say, guys, that wasn't real. I'm a writer, remember? I was just writing another story. That wasn't real at all. This was just part of a new novel I'm writing.
She's just
Give me a
writing up a
motherfucking
book.
break, Kouri Richins. Whatever. So she'd been in big trouble for that. So her preliminary hearing was finally supposed to happen on the 15th of May. And her attorneys and the prosecutor got into court on that day.
Mm-hmm.
And things did not go as expected. Kouri's attorneys wanted to bring in, well, a lot more information than normally comes into a preliminary hearing. A preliminary is not like a trial. This is not here to prove guilt or innocence.
Now, Willie,
It's
I
to,
have a question. Are these the old attorneys or the new attorneys?
these are the old attorneys.
Okay.
So this is still Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see, what was her name? Sky something.
Yeah,
Anyway, this was the old Sky Lazaro and her team.
that's right.
So they get into court and they are trying to bring in like multiple witnesses. They want 3 days to present witnesses. And the judge is like, guys, chill out here. This is a preliminary hearing. This is just to confirm whether or not the charges hold up, and we carry this over to like district court, right?
Yeah.
No, they could not do that. They needed 3 days. So the judge reset the date for the preliminary hearing to be June 18th through the 20th. And then 2 days later, Sky Lazaro and her team quit Kouri Richins' case. They said, yeah, we can't be doing this.
Weird. I wonder why.
Right? Well, I'll tell you why. And I only partially understand this. And Jess, I'm really glad you're here because I had meant to message you earlier about this because I kind of have an idea of why they quit and kind of I don't. So help me understand this. Here's part of the statement, or some of the statement anyway, that came out from Sky Lazaro. The ethical mandate for withdrawal results from an irreconcilable and non-waivable situation. Irreconcilable, I understand. They've got differences in how this is supposed to go. They can't agree with Kouri. It's kind of like Sarah Boone, who, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
But
I don't know what it
Sky
means
look
by,
like she was going to be breaking the law by smuggling in white strips. I mean, she made some assumptions
right,
there that made her attorney look really stupid. Yeah.
right. But what does non-waivable mean? If Jess, if you or if anyone else knows, just curious as
Yeah.
to
Interesting.
I looked up non-waivable and I kind of get it, but I kind of don't in a criminal sense. It's
Mm-hmm.
usually to do with a contract. So I don't know. I don't quite get it. But the irreconcilable and ethical, I kind of get. They can't continue to represent her.
Yeah.
So they quit, which means that the preliminary hearing is not going to be happening
Mm-hmm.
in June as it was originally scheduled because she's got a new team now.
Now,
I
they're
mean,
going to have to catch up. Yeah.
right? Right? They're
Mm-hmm.
definitely going to have to catch up and figure out what the hell is going on here. But let me tell
Mm-hmm.
you the other thing that has occurred that cracks me up quite a bit because this leads right back to a Mark Means situation that happened with Lori Vallow. Yeah, so one of the attorneys in the original defense team has not been using the correct app to call Kouri in jail. And so all of her calls to this person, to Kouri's calls with this person, have been being recorded for the last 6 months.
Oh.
And the prosecutor's office has been turning those calls over to them as part of discovery for 6 months.
What? Oh, no.
They say they have not listened to the calls. We don't know. When this
Mm-hmm.
happened with Mark Means was supposed to register his phone number with the Telmate system so that when
Mm-hmm.
he called from that particular number to Lori, it was not recorded because that's
Mm-hmm.
how the rules work. Except Mark Means wasn't a real defense attorney, as we all know.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was doing it incorrectly. And the prosecutor's office actually called him and said, hey man, uh, your calls are getting recorded, and we're going to turn them over to you, and we've deleted them, and we're going to let you know this. But P.S. You're an idiot. Learn the telemate system.
Right. And then he was in
Well,
court yelling at the judge that Lori Vallow's due process rights had been violated because his phone calls had been being recorded when he was
it
entirely the
was
jackass that was
his
responsible for that.
own damn fault, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, prosecutor's office didn't tell these guys this was happening, but they were turning the calls over to them in discovery. I,
What
I don't
the
even
hell?
know what the hell. Let's see. Jess has got some answers for us here. Thank you, Jess. I really appreciate that. Continuing to represent her could cause them to violate the ethical rules or committing a crime. Non-waivable means that no matter how much the client is willing to waive the conflict, the rules don't allow a waiver to be entered. So
Okay.
most conflicts of interest can be waived by the client agreeing that they know what the conflict is and are okay with them still representing them. There are some conflicts that can't be waived, like if the client lies and you know they lied and it can't be waived.
Ah.
Which, I mean, Kouri Richins is lying her little ass off and we all know it.
So are you telling me Corey's not writing a book?
Right. Well, and the prosecution has filed, or the defense has filed some stuff, um, alleging malfeasance on the part of the prosecutors. Kind of the whole thing, like what happened when
Mm-hmm.
Mark Means was trying to get Rob Wood thrown off Lori's case.
Yeah.
They've tried something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the prosecution is like, listen, dummy, it's
We've
not our
literally been
job to
handing them
know
to you.
how to
Yeah.
use the phone system. And we've been giving you these calls back. Is no one reviewing any of the evidence that's been coming your way? Just
Apparently no.
super, super stupid. Yeah, exactly, Journey to Justice. Kouri is a liar and throwing her lawyers under the bus. She
Yeah.
is, definitely. And so
Yeah.
they quit. They voluntarily, they asked to
Mm-hmm.
be removed. So when you hear Kouri talk about it, she's like, this is so sad. And it's not what I wanted, and it's not what they wanted either, except that they, in fact, did request to be removed. So I think they did, in fact, yes, want it. So Kouri is up to her old tricks of total bullshit. And now, one of the things that she bitches about is how long she's been in jail and how long she hasn't actually, faced, been able to uh, plead guilty or not guilty because she hasn't actually been technically charged yet. And yet,
Yeah.
this kind of shit is going on, which is very clearly orchestrated by her. She's an extremely manipulative person.
Oh boy. She
And
is something.
I mean, well, they'll push that hearing back for at least 3 months, if not longer, before
Mm-hmm.
they do her prelim. Now that she's got new attorneys, and guys, this is a Utah lady. She is not an active Mormon now, but she was raised a Mormon,
Mm-hmm.
believed to be an ex-Mormon at this point, and her husband, she poisoned her husband with fentanyl
Mm-hmm.
in a Moscow Mule. So
Yeah.
they were like not Mormon, but she
Mm-hmm.
definitely was raised Mormon. So this is one of the
Mm-hmm.
cases that we've been keeping an eye on for that reason. But oh my gosh, she's so lying
Oh.
and manipulating the whole system. But I want you to look at her in court because she comes across very innocent, pretty demure in black, her hair pulled back, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is a bunch of bullshit, is what that is. That's Kouri Richins.
Yeah, it
She
is.
is a snake, you guys,
Mm-hmm.
to the point that I wondered why her attorney didn't quit her case after that letter came out, where it was very clear that she was lying to her attorney. In the letter,
Mm-hmm.
she was talking about lying to her attorney and
Yeah.
manipulating her attorney. Yeah, Kouri
Yeah.
Kouri isn't probably an ex-Mormon, but yeah, she was raised a Mormon and is
Uh-huh.
from Utah. Yeah,
Yeah.
those innocent eyes. Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just a sweet little mother of three, friends. No, my God.
Whose
Yeah.
children have been ripped away from her.
And right, Jess, yeah, you always need permission to remove yourself from a case due to constitutional protections.
Yeah.
Right. But Kouri kind of makes it out like it wasn't, they didn't really want to get removed, but I'm pretty sure they did.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
she was risking them and
Well,
their,
yeah.
their own integrity. And, it was an ethical
Well,
reason.
who the hell wants a client that's going to get you disbarred or with some kind of, disciplinary action?
Right?
Why?
Good God. Yeah. She is gross as hell, but she has been up to
Mm-hmm.
some shenanigans. So we will be keeping you abreast of what's going on with Kouri Richins, and hopefully
Mm-hmm.
one of these days she's actually going to have a preliminary hearing. The charges, as we expect them to be, are, let's see, aggravated murder, assault, and drug charges. She has also been charged with mortgage fraud, forgery, and insurance fraud. For allegedly forging loan applications and fraudulently claiming life insurance benefits after her husband's death. This was all very financially motivated. The death was,
Mm-hmm.
as we have heard about in the Daybell trial. Pretty familiar with all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jess says if it was a non-waivable conflict, they didn't have a choice really. It's withdraw or lose their license. Yeah, but she set
Victoria
them up
says,
for that.
totally. Because she thinks she can do whatever she wants. She is definitely one of those people that think they are above the law, that they can do whatever they want. Just like when they tossed her cell and found that letter, and she was
Hmm.
so mad about it. Oh my gosh,
Oh
it's
yeah.
crazy.
It's like she
Victoria
doesn't
said,
understand she's in jail.
yeah, she said it's the new James and Elena story, except it's Kouri in a box of white strips.
Kinda, yeah. Kouri is not in Idaho. Kouri is in Utah.
Hmm.
But yeah, it is quite the case.
Hmm.
Yes, it's believed that he was planning divorce and she was trying to do some big financial deals that were falling apart.
Hmm.
And she also is believed to have attempted to poison him one other time, at least one other time prior to the time she killed him. In his, and get this terminology, but it keeps being said, his Valentine's Day sandwich, guys.
Yes.
The hell is a Valentine's Day sandwich?
Don't
I mean,
we
I
all
think
make
it just means
everyone
a
a
sandwich on
Valentine's Day
Valentine's
sandwich?
Day, but it gets said that way quite a bit, and I'm like, is there a special Valentine's sandwich I am unaware of?
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah,
after that, he told friends that he thought Kouri tried to poison him. And if
yeah,
something happened to him, it was Kouri.
yeah.
But he stayed living there. And then she did
He
poison
was
him.
afraid for his little boys. He had
I
three
think
little boys. The
so.
oldest one was
Those
10
three
when he
little
was
boys.
killed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God, it's
awful, awful
crazy.
situation, but holy hell, man, she is something else.
Hmm.
So we will keep an eye on that, and we'll keep you updated when we hear, when the new preliminary hearing date comes up, and it's probably one we'll stream, and it's going to be interesting to see
Hmm.
what all they've got because there's text messages. There's the housekeeper who sold her the fentanyl supposedly. There's a lot of stuff
Hmm.
uh, going on with that case. So we will keep you updated.
And there will be more shenanigans with her because, and also, RIP her new team. Sorry about it.
I
Good luck with
know.
your licenses. And this client,
Yeah,
she's going to be the new Sarah Boone by the time this is over.
I know. That's what I kept thinking when I was reading this. I'm like, my God, how many teams of attorneys is she going to go through before they get through the preliminary? Well, that being said, I'm going to kick you over to Katie for our last segment, which I hear is some dumb criminals.
Hmm. Pretty much. Pretty much. That could almost be funnier as if we had an image of somebody kicking themselves in the dick because this is where it's at. I'm going to share a video with you first, and then we'll come back and talk about it. But
Okay.
this gentleman right here, his name is Kouri Harris. Kouri also fucked around and found out. So let's go.
Defendant is to turn himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today.
Assistant Public Defender Natalie Tate for Mr. Harris, who should be present via Zoom.
Hello?
Are you driving?
Yes, I am.
Assistant Public Defender Natalie Tate for Mr. Harris, who should be present via Zoom.
Yes, I am.
Assistant Public Defender Natalie Tate for Mr. Harris, who should be present via Zoom.
Mr. Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually. So just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
Wait. You stationary?
I'm pulling in right now at this second. Yes, I am.
All right. What are we doing?
Your Honor, we are respectfully requesting an adjournment in this matter, up possibly 2 to 4 weeks that the court would allow.
Okay. So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended,
That is correct, Your Honor.
and he was just driving, and he didn't have a license.
Is with the charges, Your Honor, yes.
No, I'm looking at his
Yes.
record. He doesn't have a license. He's suspended and he's just driving.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Hello?
1 minute, Mr. Harris.
I don't even know why he would do that. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. Defendant is turning himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Harris, I'll be giving you a call.
Okay.
Court calls the case, People versus Maya Isom.
What?
The judge's face, he's just like, and this guy is so clueless for so long.
And honestly, the camera work was top notch.
It
Going
was
back and
so
forth.
good.
You got the prosecution that's like, what the hell's happening? The defense is like, oh no.
The judge is like, I don't know why he would do that. Nor do we, Your Honor. Nor do we. Oh my God, that was so funny. Oh, he's so busted, man.
A very long pause of the judge just going, somebody say something here that makes sense. And he's going, hello? No,
Dumbass
yeah,
still
we're
hasn't
here.
figured it out.
Right, the judge, am I the only one seeing this? Right? So,
oh, dude.
if that wasn't enough, then the genius made a statement to the police. This was in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The statement, or I'm sorry, to the news. He said it's very embarrassing to learn that this video showed him going viral. And it's just very embarrassing that this went viral. Okay. He said, this guy is so full of shit, it's just hard to believe. He said, with the ties I have with the church and the community, it's just very embarrassing. Nobody cares. Nobody
Buddy.
cares. At all.
Oh,
So,
I mean,
as it turned out, there was a clerical error on his license that he'd been trying to get straightened out for 2 years.
oh wow.
But what he told the news, they asked what he was thinking when he, made that appearance to court while driving. He said, what was I thinking? I was thinking about getting my wife medical help. That's what I was thinking. And I was like, I wasn't thinking about
Buddy.
the fact that I got a suspended license. I don't care about that at all. Well, that's kind of obvious. But the thing that cracked me up, in that statement was that that's not what he said to the judge. He said he was pulling into his doctor's office right now.
Yes,
And
he
then he
did.
tells the news, I was trying to get my wife medical attention. So what's true?
I'm gonna guess it's tough to know in this dude's life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It sounds like a fair amount of chaos.
So, was his license actually not suspended at that point?
Well, it was suspended in 2010 for unpaid child support.
Okay.
And then in 2022, a judge rescinded the suspension and he should have had his driver's license back, but it was never given back.
Oh. So he
So
did
he
not
was,
have a license.
he didn't, but apparently he should have. They just hadn't gotten it fixed. Yeah.
That judge's face, that is so priceless.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like it's straightened out now or it's getting straightened out. But that video absolutely killed me. The response of the judge that was like, but he's driving. No, but he's driving right now.
There. It's on video. He just said he was driving. Oh my God. Right. Yes, I want wife. I didn't see any wife in the car. Yeah, and he said it was his doctor. I mean, wouldn't you want to be sure?
Yeah. But also, why would you ever show up to a court date on Zoom driving a car? Regardless
Because you
of
take
what
it not seriously at all.
No, not at all. So, anyway, we do hope that his issues do get worked out and, that all is well, but this was just beyond hilarious.
So apparently, Judge Simpson is well known as being hilarious and gets a lot of really ridiculous cases. So, yes, Jody, we know. We did. You're probably behind us just a little bit. We're going to have to keep an eye on Judge Simpson because I love him. He was fantastic. Is anyone seeing this?
Yeah. I'm dead. That video killed me. It killed me when it first came out, but we were all over Daybell at that point and weren't really doing anything else, so I didn't have anywhere to go with it. But anyway, so it sounds like, all is well in this gentleman's world, but wowza, that was really something.
Note self, if you think your driver's license is revoked, but please don't attend a Zoom meeting while driving. I mean, it just doesn't seem like it's that hard. Hopefully he gets it all worked out, but my God, that was good for some comedy.
And also, yes, for sure, never be driving and attending Zoom while going to court. Just don't be doing those things all at the same time.
Do not do it, period. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a mess.
Well, I think we have done it. I really appreciate all of you being here with us live. It's really, really fun to get to respond to you and see your interactions while we are recording an episode. And we're going to keep doing this. So we did make a slight change to the schedule because I kind of screwed up. So Mondays at 6 Mountain, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Mountain, and then Wednesday night at 7 p.m., which is our case updates show. And it's always at 7, and we cover a whole bunch of cases. We do it every week. Normally, we didn't do it during the Daybell trial, but normally we do it all the time. So that is our new schedule now. So you can catch us live. You can always catch us after the fact as well, because these will be posted, and they'll be posted with their descriptions and everything, so you'll be able to go back and find what we talked about pretty easily. And so we just really appreciate you all being here with us, and we're just going to keep right on trucking through the true crime world because there's just always something to talk about.
Somebody's always criming out there. Always criming.
That is true. You know it. We are the True Crime Squad. Thanks for being here.
Take care.